Excellent. Great to meet you. Thanks for taking a minute out today.
Nice to meet you too. I'm looking forward to it.
Me too. So, before we get into the new album and your life and music, I want to know, how did you survive COVID? That was quite a thing that happened to the world of jazz. How did you get
Mhm.
through it, and how has it changed the way that you approach things now?
That's a great question. I don't know. I feel like sometimes it still feels like it's COVID, you know, in terms of gigs and just how things are run now. It's very uh, interesting and different compared to how life was before the pandemic. Um, yeah, I don't know. I think I also changed um, where I'm living, so that I think everything kind of changed for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, where are you at now?
Right now, so I was in New York before, and now I'm in Toronto, and I travel to New York for the gigs and whatnot.
Okay.
So
All
I'm
right.
staying on the Canadian side. We'll see how it goes.
So, is that the reason why the name of the album is Duality?
It's not. This was after. Duality is the balance between light and dark within. So really touching on what could be anything in your life.
Sure. Sure.
Yeah.
So, how relieving is it now that kind of the world's waking up a little bit that you do actually have a new album out? I mean, even though it does, there's elements of us that still are probably in PTSD from going through this whole thing. We're all trying to be like, wow, okay, so we're back, right? You're not going to pull the rug and say we got another Omicron or some nonsense.
Yeah, I'm having a lot of trust issues, so we'll
Yes.
see.
Yeah, well, welcome to Earth. That's the problem right now. It's the
Yep.
reason why there's such a level of conspiracies and all these things. We're fed
Yeah.
with so much information that the only people that we're supposed to trust, we don't trust. It's
That's
weird.
yeah, I absolutely agree. It's crazy out there, but
Yes, it is.
for some reason we came here anyway.
Right, I know. So, how does the album feel overall to have it come out now and the prospect of live shows and whatnot?
It's been really really amazing. It has been so fulfilling to. I mean, the whole process was about mm, up until now about 11 months
Okay.
of 12 to 16-hour work days. So no, oh, this idea, oh, that this was a full on, I barely worked in the last year type of endeavor, type of project, type of heart that I needed to put into this. So it's been really fulfilling. And now I'm like, okay, now it's time to work. but but I mean the message of the album is really just finding that light within you, and it's okay if you're in the darkness. The darkness is not bad. It just is what it is. We're not. It's different than negativity. It's it's okay to be where you're at when you're at it. And most of the time, a person is never in one place. We're complex beings. You may feel this emotion and this emotion that are on the exact opposite sides of the spectrum, and sometimes we don't really know how to feel or dissect our emotions, or so I think it goes into a lot of things for me, and this whole process has been so not just fulfilling but healing, and that is what I hope it does for others. We've all had that one tune or that album that got us through the darkest times in our lives, and we get to be that for people.
Yeah.
That is the biggest honor. We get to be that for people. So I hope this album helps a lot of people, you know.
So
That's my
speak
goal.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So speaking of that, how did this journey into the jazz begin for you? How did this love of music and getting into jazz, how'd that start for you? Where were you born and raised, and how'd that happen?
Yeah, I was born and raised in Calgary, Alberta, on the west side in the mountains. And I moved away. Well, I knew the drums were for me. I wasn't allowed to play them. I played piano and guitar and bass, but drums, being a girl and all these things, they were expensive. Um, Anyways, because I still knew that it was just a part of my, molecular makeup, maybe. And somehow the stars aligned, and it was a birthday. It was 16 or 18. And my dad was like, go see what's out in the car. And I'm like, oh no. I go out and it's the crappiest drum set you'll have ever seen in your life. Just plastic, actual plastic. And I just fell to my knees and sobbed. And it was just this knowing. And since then, there have been a few times where I've tried to get away from music, and music never allows that of me. I don't feel like I chose music. I feel like it was completely 100% music's choice. Because hey, if I could go be a whatever where I have a steady check every 2 weeks and there's stability and less fear and a lot less stuff you got to deal with, if that's something that you can do, oof, go do it. But if you physically can't, if that music is such a big part of what you need and how you communicate and how you heal and how you help others, if that's your path, you don't have a choice. So I don't I don't feel like I really chose it. But
Right.
so then I moved away when I was 18. I did my degree, and then I went to New York and did my master's. And I just started working and touring and gigging and recording and producing, and it was just like, this is where I'm supposed to be. And I hustled for a very long time. I was there for about 10 years, and then the pandemic hit. And in the middle of that, I think I got the last flight out because it was just, nobody knew what was going on.
Yeah.
It's like, not everybody has cable TV or. So when COVID hit, it like hit, you know?
Yeah.
And at that point, I thought I'd be gone for 3 months tops and get back to my life. And it just wasn't it. And I know that happened for so many people.
Yeah.
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 And yeah. And now the album, and now I'm in a place where I'm observing. I'm observing what's next for me, you know.
Right on. So what was the first live jazz show you ever saw that really inspired you?
Oh, live jazz. I don't know.
What
I
about the
don't know.
album, maybe?
The first album that really inspired me? Okay,
Yeah.
that one's easy.
There you go.
Miles Smiles.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that one, yeah, it took over my life for very many, many, many years. But in terms of shows, I think it was just um, I don't think it was jazz at first. I think I first saw Prince.
Ooh, that's a good
Yeah,
way to get in there.
yeah, with Maceo Parker.
Wow.
And yeah, so it was like, ah. I mean, I had grown up listening to, my mother played a lot of music in the house, but it was always very much Stevie Wonder, Whitney Houston, Michael Jackson. So, and Prince, you know what I mean? So, that was my introduction to jazz, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
No,
I feel
totally.
bad. I
Yeah,
feel
yeah.
bad.
No, 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 that makes sense. That totally makes sense. So in this process, there's so many aspects that go into it, from recording to performing to promoting. What do you like the best about it? What is the thing that fuels you as a professional musician?
Oh, if I could do the recording process for my living fully, like if that just, I love it from the beginning, from the music and arranging for the actual band that is going to be recording. Oh, it's so fulfilling. Excuse me. It's so fulfilling up to the point where you record, which is just, I love it. That feels like home to me. And then the mixing and mastering process, I really love being a part of that. After that point where the creativeness is kind of um, slows down and it gets more to marketing and whatnot, that's the hard part for me. So maybe I need to get somebody to do that for me, but it's 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 very draining for me. It's hard. Like the art stuff, I mean, I know there is an art of marketing and whatnot, but when I'm in that creative space of creating sound or feeling, it's so freeing. And then when I go to the marketing, it's really hard for me to do that for myself.
So what was the first studio experience that was really seminal for you that you remember that got you the bug to really love being in the recording set?
Oh man, I was fresh in New York. I'd been there a little while, not too long, but it was my first real big recording. And they were flying me to Germany, and they told me another drummer was on it as well. We were gonna half and half, and I was like, "What? Oh, come on, man!" You know what I mean? Like all being all cocky and whatnot. I'm like, "Whatever, whatever." And then I find out it's Dennis Chambers is the other drummer.
Wow.
So I'm like, oh crap, oh no, oh this is no. All the things going through. And just being there and that being my first real encounter with, you know, the big boys. I was fresh in New York, maybe, a few months. And yeah, it was just eye-opening. I thought it would be this really stressful, like everybody's mean and you're a professional, blah blah, coming in
Yeah,
as a kid.
sure.
And it was just amazing. It just felt warm, you know. It's just everyone in the same place, having the same mindset, the same goal, and figuring out our path to get there together and put a stamp on it, have that exist forever. It's
Yeah.
a beautiful thing.
So that's a natural lead into why do you love this thing we call jazz?
Mm. Oh, the freedom, the expression, the the allowance to be one's true self, you know, in that moment on stage when you're communicating with everyone in the band and everyone in the audience without talking. You can really just, you're naked up there. Your soul is naked. And it's just the most amazing connection. I think it connects me higher, you
Yeah.
know, and there's that healing, that channel comes down and you're just spreading light, and it's so powerful. It's so powerful. There's no other feeling like
So let's bring it down hyper local to you. Everyone has a perception of you, family, friends, fans, but you're in control. What's your perception of yourself? Who do you think you are?
that. Ooh, this is funny because I think I'm very different from how folks think of me. Growing up in the New York scene, you got this hard shell on as a
Yeah.
woman. You
Hmm.
just like you're just trying to be one of the bros. Um, I'm a very spiritual person. I'm very about energies and the science behind that, and I'm working on my softness. I'm actually pretty sensitive. I mean, I am an artist. We all like to pretend like we're, the cool guy, but like we're all kind of just always in our feelings. So it's
Yep.
funny that we try and hide it from each other.
Sure.
But I'm I'm goofy. I'm really goofy. I think that would be another big shock to folks that don't really know me. I am class clown, um, nerdy, like, yeah, I'm just different, but I care. I sometimes too much. Like I'm working on that as well.
Sure.
So it's different. The different things that most folks wouldn't think about someone that they see on social media or
Yeah.
they've seen play wherever in the world, and it's like, yeah, human.
Yeah.
I have faults. I'm not perfect at all.
Right.
you
Right.
know,
Yeah.
I'm trying to just be good. I'm just trying to live in the goodness of, you know, but
That's cool.
Figure it out.
So if we get off the phone here, off the proverbial Zoom, and a jazz DeLorean pulls up in front of your house, you can go anywhere in time and see any show. Where are you going? Who are you seeing?
Ooh, you know, the one that came to my mind was 1965 in Denmark with Sonny Rollins, N Hop, and Alan Dawson, who played
Wow.
trio. And yeah, that would be
Yeah.
that, that just popped into my mind. I didn't even think, I didn't have any thought. It was just like, that's the one.
Yeah.
I guess that was decided for me.
Absolutely. No, that's wonderful. Yeah, I couldn't imagine seeing Sonny and those cats together. It'd be crazy.
Oof.
Yeah,
Oh,
be crazy. So, where can people pick up Duality, learn more about live shows, anything that you've done work-wise, where can they go?
so to get Duality, you can email me at duality2023@gmail.com. If you want a physical signed copy, I'm sending those out. Bandcamp is also another great way to get digital. I also do digital through the email. My website is sanahmusic.com, and I'm usually posting on Instagram where I'm playing and touring and whatnot. That seems to be the easiest platform to not get as frustrated with. But I will try and put it on Facebook. My fan page is well there. And other than that, yeah, Bandcamp, website, Instagram, email. I think you got it.
Yeah, we're in. We got all the coordinates. Sanaa,
There
thank
we
you
go.
so much for opening up your world of music and the new album. I really appreciate it. Best of luck with everything.